Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. This week in the Buffalo Stampede, as I stand here with Heather Craycraft, who's the brains of the operation here in the athletic department. We're going to talk women's basketball. What a great run by J.R. Payne and company. We'll talk with Shelly Sheets from the Buff staff. Also, skiing with Jana Weinberger, coming up #2 in the country in skiing this season. We're also going to meet a brand new CU football player in Shane Cokes, transfer from Dartmouth. And we'll wrap up the year with athletic director Rick George, all this week in the Buffalo Stampede.
Woo.
The Sweet 16 for the first time in 20 years.
The Buffs are on to the Sweet 16 after the victory over the Duke Blue Devils down in North Carolina, back in the Stampede. There's the shower, by the way, that J.R. Payne took. Great celebration afterward. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, Shelly Sheets from the CU women's basketball staff. That video's never going to get old, is it?
Never. Never gets old when a coach gets doused with some ice cold water.
You know, you've been in that situation as a player. You've done it as a coach now.
Yeah.
Is there a different feeling?
The feeling never gets old.
Right.
Different, I don't know. Supposedly the video shows that I'm running around like a crazy person.
Right, you were, yeah.
So excited. And you can talk to the players and coaches about what that feeling is like,
right.
You know, because I had it as a player. But I tell you what, the euphoria and everything kind of coming to fruition of that, you know, heading to the Sweet 16, you can't tell people and describe it. It was just so awesome to have that experience for the players and the coaches.
I just wonder, when you're a great player, and Shelly, as we well know, certainly was, you got control of that. When you're sitting at the bench,
sure,
you don't really have control of it, right?
No, you do not.
Yeah.
And but it was so exciting to see the players and the coaches and just have that feeling, you know, and do it on Duke's home floor was even better and sweeter for that. But to go to the Sweet 16 was pretty incredible.
I thought that game in particular, and again, I'm at home, you know, watching that. My wife doesn't care about basketball, but she's watching it. I mean, she's sitting there going crazy like everybody else was. It really showed the character and kind of the toughness of that team. Because at one point late in the regulation, I thought, well, Colorado's not going to win.
Sure.
Jalen Sherrod made a couple of big plays. Overtime, all Buffs in that one, 11-3.
Well, we had a lot of adversity in that game. I mean, you think about it, when we came out roaring and got a quick lead on them, and a good team like Duke's going to come back, and we knew that. But we had some foul situations happening in that game, and you know, and situations where they send it to overtime, and we had to have a huge stop. Tayana Jones had a huge, you know, rebound for us to get to the overtime. But, you know, things happen, and that's the madness of March.
The Buffs then move on to the Sweet 16 in Seattle against a very good Iowa team. They end up falling. We're going to talk more about that game, but let's hear some comments from J.R. Payne after the Buffs were eliminated from the NCAA tournament. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Celebrate responsibly.
I told the team just how unbelievably proud of them that we are. And then also just how proud Buff Nation is of this team. You know, there's a lot of people that are re-energized about our program and the way that these guys play, and just unbelievably proud of, you know, of what they represent on and off the floor. And that's really special. That's more than basketball. You know, the way that these guys carry themselves. And so hopefully these guys will have a lot of time off to rest and recover, and at some point really reflect on the incredible things that we accomplished, you know, when no one believed we were capable of really anything that we accomplished. A lot to be proud of. I am so proud. I love my team so much. You guys see the basketball, you know, you see the tenacity and the toughness and the fearlessness. I see young women that celebrate each other in their hardest moments. I absolutely love our team. I love what the young women in our program are about. And I just couldn't be more proud, you know, to be the head coach at the University of Colorado.
That's head coach J.R. Payne after the Buffaloes got beat by Iowa then in the NCAA tournament. Continuing with Shelly Sheets here on the Buffalo Stampede. That game against Iowa, again, very high-level college basketball game, wasn't it?
Huge, on that stage, in March Madness, Sweet 16, it's the biggest stage, besides getting to the Final Four, and really proud of our squad. We came up short, and it's the madness of March. I mean, you only get one opportunity, 140 minutes to play that game, and it didn't go our way. We had some foul trouble, but really proud of the resilience and the toughness that our team showed.
Yeah, it really did become a game of attrition, almost down the stretch, and you kind of ran out of time on that one.
We ran out of time.
Yeah.
And we had some foul trouble, with Jay fouling out, Frida fouling out. Weta was in foul trouble. And we had our, those two guards on the bench in the second quarter. I don't think Jay even played the second quarter. And, that's the madness of March. As much as we were looking forward to that Iowa matchup, you only get 40 minutes to play that game. And would we want that 40 minutes back? Absolutely. To get one more shot at Iowa? Heck yeah.
The bulk of this team comes back, by the way. We'll talk about that in a moment. But every team is unique, right? Every season. What's your postscript as you look at this group?
We talked about this in August, and it was going to be, we had all the pieces of the puzzle. We had great guard play. We had some shooters. We had some inside game. The biggest thing was going to be our mentality. And we had some speed bumps along the way to learn. To get to the Sweet 16, it was pretty sweet. But I tell you what, this needs to be the standard of what our program's about now.
Well, and like I said, virtually everybody's. I think Tay's the only one not coming back, correct? Is that it?
Tay cannot come back. She has exhausted her eligibility.
Everybody else could come back.
Everybody else could come back.
You've got that, so that just raises the expectations, I would think, and that may be happening outside the program, but internally, I know that you guys are raising expectations.
Absolutely. The bar's been raised. And what Coach, J.R. Payne has done in her 7 years here, and this is the standard now. And so we, come our way. Let's go, Buffs.
So now that it's over, do you catch your breath and have a little sigh, or do you want to keep going, or?
Oh, I keep going every day. I mean, that's kind of how we're wired. But absolutely, you got to catch your breath and kind of. Refocus and generate some more energy. But yeah, we're kind of moving on to the spring.
All right, Shelly Sheets, now the CU basketball staff of the CU women. What a campaign it was for J.R. Payne and company. We'll take a time out. Speaking of great campaigns, we're going to talk skiing. Jana Weinberger is going to join us next here on the Stampede.
Philippe Korchek with the finish in sight. A little bit of a mishap there. Leading off speed, getting late and farther down the rise line. Let's go to the clock now. Will it be enough? It is enough. Ladies and gentlemen, your NCAA Giant Slalom champion, Philippe Korchek.
For the second year in a row, Philip Forchek, the Giant Slalom winner at the NCAA Championships back at Buffalo Stampede. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Ski coach Jana Weinberger joining us. That was quite an accomplishment for him. Huh? Going to get 2 years in a row for Philip?
Yeah, that was great results for Philip.
Yeah, without question. Talk about his performance, kind of, and how he's able to kind of ski at that level and consistently.
Well, he's a great talented skier. He's a senior this year, so he knows all the tricks, how NCAA works. So he was able to pull it together for Giant Slalom. So great 2 wins last 2 years, so that was awesome.
You say tricks, I thought it was just going downhill fast. There's more to it than just that?
Definitely more.
How about the performance by this team at the NCAA Championships, coming in second in the country? You consider the year, it was an up and down year. Your team had to deal with some adversity this season. I think that speaks to the character of this team, doesn't it?
Yes, they came together and worked hard and refocused in mid-January, so we're able to qualify full team. We're not sure about it for a while there, but Alpine girls did well in Alaska, so 12 athletes going to championships, always great.
Yeah. On the Alpine side, take us through the championships that weekend in Lake Placid.
So started out with Alpine, and Philip and Louis, great 1-2 going into GS. Great start for our team, and we're able to stay close to Utah through the whole championship.
Yeah.
So closer probably than anybody thought we will.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I think a lot of times folks don't quite understand the competition, how that works. This thing was neck and neck the entire weekend.
Going into final day, we're a point and a half behind.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, very close. But were the conditions good in Lake Placid for the championships?
Yes, snow was great, tons of snow, and the main thing that athletes did great.
Yeah, the Buffaloes finish up number 2 in the country, just barely missing out to Utah in the NCAA Championships. By the way, a short time ago, we had a great event here at the University of Colorado. Let's check in with the Women of Altitude event here at CU. Powered by Ford. Cars, trucks, and SUVs built for America. Built Ford proud.
Tonight we are here to empower our female student athletes and all of our student athletes and staff members here with CU Athletics. We're going over our values, how they discover them, how those show up in different aspects of their life, and really how we can use our values together to help build a culture of belonging here with CU Athletics. It's important that we host these events on a regular basis for our student athletes, really so they can build community, so they can learn more about themselves, both personally as students and as athletes, and so we can really help them figure out who they are and the path that they want to go on to succeed in life after CU and after sports. Here at CU, we focus on the whole student athlete, and our Women with Altitude program, part of the Scripps Leadership and Career Development program, is really providing that opportunity for student athletes to develop themselves as a whole person, not just a student or an athlete. So in our 6th year of Women with Altitude, we get great feedback from our student athletes. We always have a great turnout for the event, and they're really able to connect with each other, connect with our staff members, and all of our external partners in the Buff community.
Great event here a short time ago at the University of Colorado, the Women of Altitude event, as we continue with Jana Weinberger from the ski team as the Buffs finish #2 in the country in the NCAA championships. And before we get down to talking about the Nordic side, where your, of course, history is, how about you have an international ski team like the Buffaloes do. You're going to have a lot of athletes involved in international events. So besides this ski season, there was a lot of attention that those athletes had on outside events this year and had great success, correct?
Yes, we had university games taking place in Lake Placid. We had a couple of medals from World University Games from Magnus and Anna Maria, and then Veronica making the World Championships and Will Koch making the World Cup team.
Yeah, you want your athletes to have those experiences and ski at that level. Does that make it difficult from a coaching standpoint when you've got athletes coming in and out nonstop all season long?
Yes, those international competitions are important for development of the athletes, but at the same time, we did not have a meet where everybody was here at the same time. So the only meet when we had all our top skiers together was NCAA championships.
All right, so the NCAA championships, back to that now. Now talk Nordic side in the NCAA championships for us.
Nordic side, we had a couple of podiums, Hanna Abrahamsson and Anna Maria Dite, and almost everybody made All-American, so some good results.
Yeah.
And most importantly, all of them are coming back for next year.
Yeah, and you mentioned Magnus Bo. He's really had a great career, hasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's coming back as a 5th year.
Right. You know, that's the thing about when you're building a team like this, having everyone come back like that just raises the expectations for the next season, doesn't it?
Yeah, raises expectations, and athletes were already talking about winning next year.
Yeah. Great. The Buffaloes finished up #2 in the country in the NCAA championships of skiing. They're always competing for a championship here at the University of Colorado. This year come up just short. Jana Weinberger, coach for the ski team. We'll take a time out here at the Stampede. Coming up next, we're talking spring football. You know, I know you have work to do before the season gets here, but what do you think about running behind Ralphie? You heard about that yet? Now that's going to work out? Run behind the Buffalo?
I'm gonna burn Ralphie. Ralphie, you ain't ready for me yet. I'm sorry.
That may be true, but I don't think you want to get in front of the Buffalo.
Nah, I ain't trying to get hurt.
Yeah.
Ralphie go hit me and keep it moving.
Well, one thing I can tell you, Jimmy Horn Jr. is a brand new football player on Coach Prime's staff, a very fast football player. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch, but I guarantee you, he's not beating Ralphie in a race. Back in the Stampede, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson here. Spring ball, by the way, already underway. 1 week of practices for Coach Prime and company. They took the week off for spring break, like all the rest of the students, and they'll be back at it next week. Of course, it all culminates April 22nd with the spring game in what is expected to be a sold-out Folsom Field. And by the way, we recently caught up with another transfer for Colorado, Dartmouth transfer Shane Cokes, about as sharp a guy as you're ever going to see. Well, welcome. How are you liking Boulder so far?
It's been great. It's been really good.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little much warmer than New Hampshire is.
Yeah.
Sun's out a little more. And in the mountains, I still haven't gotten used to them, so it's been a joy every day.
Yeah, it's something you look up there and they never tell, right?
Yeah.
And they're there every day, and it's a spectacular view. You're going to enjoy that throughout the seasons. All right, why Colorado? You spent 3 years at Dartmouth.
Yes, sir.
Got your degree there.
Mm-hmm.
Grad transfer. Was it just a foregone conclusion you were going to look to go someplace else, and this was the best option, or what?
So kind of my thing then going into the end of the season, like I knew I was graduating early, so I knew it'd be my last year there. So the plan just between me and everyone was just like, depending on how the year went, like my idea the whole year was finish out the year strong, then start training for the league. But if it didn't go how I wanted to go, if I didn't get the grade I wanted to get, then I'd transfer somewhere else. So it ended up going that way. Entered my name in the transfer portal, went through all that craziness, and then just ended up here, you know. And it was a great visit, great official, just enjoyed the place, obviously, like I said, and then the coaching staff and just the feel of everyone, it just excited me, just about bringing that change somewhere.
You know, I'd have to think it's a little bit of a heady deal when you get a phone call from Coach Prime, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, hearing from any coach is a great thing when you're a college football player. When you get a call from him, that's a little bit different, though, isn't it?
I mean, it's just one of those things, like, you never expect, like, okay, one day I'll be playing for Coach Prime, you know, one of the greatest cornerbacks in the league, one of the greatest players to play in the NFL. So, I mean, it's still a crazy thing today, but, I mean, I just appreciate him, just how hard he pushes us out there every single day. Like, I've already become a better player in these past 3 days, so I'm just excited for it.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you here. Tell us about your experience at Dartmouth. I mean, that's a very high academic institution.
Yes, sir.
Right? Great reputation. What's it like playing at that level?
I mean, it's good. And I think people think the Ivy League isn't as good just because of the academics and whatnot. You need to get in there. But, I mean, there's a lot of great players in the Ivy League, a lot of great players that come out of the Ivy League. So, I mean, you still work there every single day. And then on top of the academics and the work there, I just remember coming in my freshman year, like, expecting it to be hard. But still, like, I think that was my toughest year there, just getting used to college football as a 17-year-old, and then on top of the academics and the curriculum that they expect you to do. So, I mean, it's a learning process for sure, but just over the years, you just understand what's expected of you.
You know, Sean, I think a lot of people don't understand about the Ivy League. It's a non-athletic scholarship league.
Yeah.
That adds a little bit of pressure to a student athlete as well, doesn't it?
Yes, sir, yeah. So, yeah, like you said, a non-athletic scholarship, but it's based off of parents, like what they make and stuff. So I was able to go there, didn't have to pay very much at all. And then you have work study on top of that. So, I mean, it's just that type of thing. Like, we don't have any stipend there or any of the NIL stuff or any of these facilities. So you have to work as hard or harder than anybody else.
What did I tell you about Shane Cokes? That guy right there. When he's done playing football, somebody better be hiring that guy. He's going to be a CEO of a company. Very, very impressive. Spring ball, by the way, underway. Week number 2 coming up next week. Getting ready for the spring game, April 22nd at Folsom Field. Expecting to have a sellout. That's a 1 o'clock game, Mountain Time. Coming up next, we're going to talk with the athletic director, Rick George, here in the Buffalo Stampede.
Now the Buffaloes reset. Boy, beautiful pass. Finding it, Crossy McGee, who gets the finish. Enough real estate to work with as Rudy works the side. And then going underneath behind the cage. Oh my goodness, what a great play by Ashley Stokes.
Well, a great win there on the road for the women's lacrosse team. Check out that view, by the way. Rick George's office overlooking Folsom Field. Got the Flatirons in the background. Athletic director Rick George, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Putting a wrap on the athletic season. Not over yet, but the TV show's wrapping up here today. And boy, that's not a bad view to look at every day.
No, it's a pretty good view every day, and you know, it's a privilege to be able to see all that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Hey, how about that lacrosse team? They started out a little bit slow, but boy, they've kind of picked things up here.
Yeah, they really have, and you know, once they got into conference play, they really picked up their game, and I think having that strong non-conference schedule was really good for them. But the ASU win capped a good road weekend, and you know, a good win for the women's lacrosse team.
And Tannis getting a nice road win versus Northern Arizona, 9-6. On the season?
Yeah, Anthony's done a great job with that team, and they're playing really well. And to beat Northern Arizona at Northern Arizona really kicked off spring break week for us.
Yeah, track and field competing in the outdoor right now, hosting the NCAA's coming up in 2024.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing a renovation to Potts Field out there, and we're going to make some great changes to that. That'll be really good for our program. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Avery McMullen's done a great job with the pentathlon, and you know, I'm really excited about the outdoor track season.
You know, we just talked skiing here just a little while ago with Yana, but you know, they had some ups and downs this season, but boy, to finish up number 2 in the nation.
Yeah, look, they were right there. I mean, they had an opportunity to win that going into the last day, and that's the position you want to be in. Unfortunately, we didn't get the win, but a second place finish in the NCAA is a credit to that program and those student athletes that work so hard and compete at that level.
And then men's and women's basketball, both the men and women in the postseason, men in the NIT. Quick comment about that.
Well, look, they got beat by a good Utah Valley team. Men's basketball did. It was great to be able to follow the women on the road, and to bounce from Durham to back here and to do the things that we did. And they played a great game against Iowa in the Sweet 16 and had an opportunity to win that game. And just down the stretch, we had some foul troubles and couldn't complete the deal. But what a great season for JR and her team.
One thing I've said many times about Rick, it's phenomenal walking around campus with him. He knows every single athlete. I mean, and you get to know those teams. That was a fun team that JR had this year.
Yeah, it really was. And the great thing is they're all coming back. I mean, I think we lose Tay, and that's the only one that isn't coming back. So I think there's big expectations for next year, and we're really excited about the way they ended the year. But next year has a great promise as well.
A lot of times when we get to the kind of the end of the sports season, and it's coming up with the calendar about ready to flip to April as we stand here, we kind of look back and take stock in kind of the year past. Are you able to do that and think about what this year has been like for the Buffaloes?
I'm just trying to keep up with what's going on right now.
That's what I wondered.
Haven't had a chance to look back yet, but we had a tough football season, but I think with the hiring of Coach Prime, I think that was really good. It gave some energy to our fan base, and I think that goes down to all of our sports and all of our student athletes. So that's been really good. And the way the women finished, I think that gave us some momentum. And our women's lacrosse team's playing really well, and tennis is playing well. So again, we're doing the right things. I think as we come out at the end of this season, the 22-23 season, I think 23-24 has a lot of promise.
As we stand here today and we're looking out, Rick and I behind our camera right now, you got Folsom Field out there, there's a chance that might be a sold-out stadium for April 22nd for the spring football.
It will be a sold-out stadium. I'll buy the last 700 tickets if I have to. But
Rick, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. A 1-11 team, and then the fact that we're on ESPN at 1 Mountain Time is a really tribute to Coach Prime and what he's brought to this department, this university, this football program, and we're excited to watch that game.
I know you saw something obviously, and it's not difficult to see what Prime brings. Is it surpassing from an energy and attention standpoint even what maybe you projected?
Yeah, certainly is. We did expect that there would be a big bump in energy and enthusiasm, but not at the level that we're seeing. And we just got to capitalize on that. We got to make sure that we have a great spring, we have a great summer for our football team, and then when we all come back here in August, we hit this thing running. Here's
the real test for Rick, by the way, so that he knows all the student athletes. You can't possibly know all those football players yet. With all the new guys on campus?
No.
Yeah.
I do not.
But I tell you what, they're good-looking athletes, aren't they?
They really are. Yeah, it's great to have them, that's for sure.
And this fall, by the way, speaking of football, the schedule and the home slate we've got here, Colorado, opening up at TC, okay? A team that played in the national championship game, and then Nebraska and Colorado State at home.
Yeah, we got both of them at home, and then we go to Oregon, then we come back and play USC, and the first 5 weeks are going to be tough, but we'll be up for the task, and we'll have Folsom Field will be full, it'll be rocking, and our students will be here to support us, and again, we're excited about what's to come.
Yeah, it's been a great year for Colorado, and even bigger year on the horizon, I think, for the Buffaloes, as Rick is talking about. Good luck, and get some rest during the offseason.
Yeah, go Buffs.
All right, there he is, Athletic Director Rick George. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. As you put a wrap this year on the Buffalo Stampede, it's been fun every week joining you. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next season.